There's a fire, burn the fire brigade. Our souls tonight, we are losing this fight. Oh, our souls tonight is
How you doing, YouTube? This is Alpha Prime back again for another Transformers Earth Wars video. And in this video, this is part 2 of a 2-part series on which bots are the best bots of the game, which bots should I focus on leveling the most, and which bots should get the most spark. So if you missed that first video that I did, please head on over to my channel and my playlist under Transformers Earth Wars Tips, and you'll find that video there. Now, without further ado, let's get back to my squad. And as you can see here, I have most of the bots. I'm just missing a few of them. So in this video here, we left off talking about Ratchet, so I'll get back into that. I'm going to talk about the better 3-star bots in the game that I would consider leveling. And I'm also going to talk about some of the 4-star bots that I'm missing. Now, the 4-star bots that I'm missing that are really awesome are Trax, Tigerhawk, Gnaw, and Inferno. And of those 4, I think all 4 of them are pretty good bots. 4-star Gnaw is not as useful for wars and for outposts, but I see a lot of high-level players put a 5-star Gnaw in the outposts because he spawns those 4-star Gnaw minions, which are really, really nasty and suck up a lot of time. So definitely, if you get a 5-star Gnaw, that's worth the investment on Spark all the way up to level 10 if you can. But for the other bots, Inferno is an amazing bot. I don't have the 4-star. I have the 3-star because his special ability enhances other bots' abilities. Special abilities and regular attacks. So very, very useful Transformer if you need help one-shotting stuff, or if you're just trying to take down the HQ as fast as possible. Another great bot is the 4-star Trax, and I'm missing that and really wanting to get him. Next time there's another bundle, I'll try again. And he's got that smoke cloud cover up to 80%. So he's an amazing bot to have just for rushing because he protects that whole team of yours. So definitely like Trax, and his ability I think is really good because basically at a level 1 Trax, his special ability is the same as, say, a level 51 Trax, because it just comes down to how much spark you got. So I would level that up to 6 to 8 if you got 4-star Trax. Tigerhawk is another bot that's very, very interesting. I have an awesome video that I posted in my playlists on power leveling, and highlighted one of our best players, Tank, who loves his Tigerhawk, and he just destroys a max HQ 16 base with Tigerhawk and Swoop. So check that video out as well. I'll leave that one at the end of this video for you to see. But let's get back to the rest of the 4-star bots that I have. And like I said, I left off with Ratchet last time, and let's get to talking about First Aid. Now, First Aid is a healer bot. He's a medic. And his special is the deploy metabots. So I like that special. It's good because it shields your bots, but they don't have a lot of health, these little metabots. So if you got mortars attacking you and missile launchers attacking you, they're not going to survive too long. So I would proceed with caution on his special ability there. I'm not a huge fan of First Aid. He's good for walk teams. Because he can heal in a clump, but if you're rushing a lot of bases, First Aid is very highly ineffective. So he's only good for clumped attacks that you're doing. So if you're doing a walk team with lots of healers and gunners, First Aid's a great bot to use. And that ability at 6 is decent enough, but if you want to get it up higher, it really comes down to how much spark you have. Now, the next bot we're going to talk about is Alpha Bravo. Alpha Bravo deals the most damage for a special ability. At level 55, level 8, he'll deal the most damage of all of the gunners. So he's a very, very useful bot, and I bring him on one of my top war lines. Wish I had another gold volatile mixture, but Space 8 won't give me one. Tried to get another gold volatile mixture forever, but it's a very rare core to get. If you get it, it's like hitting the lottery. So good luck with that. Hope you guys get gold volatile mixtures because they go really well on gunners. Now, let's get back into talking about Alpha Bravo here. So basically, yeah, I like his special ability because he deals the most damage of all of the gunners. So I definitely recommend getting that as high as you can because he'll be helping you on your top war lines. His health is not as great as the other gunners, but that doesn't really matter. You're using him for all the damage that he does. 4-star Windblade is very similar to my 5-star that I talked about in the last video. She's a decent bot because she can land and attack defenses and then finish them off with her regular damage per second. So I got mine to level 6. I probably won't go any further just because I only use her on a Zone 13 raid line. I don't use her for war anymore because she's just not strong enough. 4-star Grumlock is a very, very good bot. As you can see, mine's leveling up to level 51. I got him later in the game, and to be honest, he's a great bot, but I have tons of bots, so I really didn't focus on him for a while. He's great for rush attacks. He's great for walk attacks. He's a very, very versatile bot, and his sword rush special is very good because he can crush defenses when he gets to them, but he also runs through walls with his sword rush special. So I would recommend getting that as high as you can because he's a great bot for all kinds of different scenarios. And I definitely wouldn't mind leveling it up a little bit more once he gets out of the shop. I probably will do that. And oh, sorry about that. Got out of my bot list here, but let's go back there again and let's take a look at Firefly. Now, Firefly is another jet class, air class like Jetfire that I talked about in the last video, but he's not as strong as Jetfire when it comes to his airstrike ability. At 54.8, you can see there he only deals 3,900 damage with an enhanced ordnance core, and I didn't level up that enhanced ordnance to 10 because I really don't use Firefly too much. Only in a Zone 13 metal line. I don't use him for war. So that's why I left that ability at what it's at. But if he's your only gunner, a flyer, and the only jet, I would recommend getting that special ability up to 6 or 8 so you can take down defenses with one shot. Now, I'll probably have to do another video on the numbers that you need to one-shot max defenses. I think that would be a really useful video. So stay tuned for that. That'll be out very soon within the next week or so, I'm thinking. Okay, let's get to Jumpstream. Now, Jumpstream is a warrior class bot similar to Pipes that I talked about in the first video. And his defensive rush, or her defensive rush, sorry, blocks 80% damage for 7.2 seconds and then charges a target. Now, that one only is at level 5 for me because I just don't use her because I use Pipes. So, you know, they're the same type of bot. So, you know, whichever one you guys get, focus on one of them and level that bot up because that shield is very, very useful. Once you get it up high enough, he's definitely, or she's definitely one of the better Warbots that you could use to pop outposts and to protect your team because she distracts defenses. So I would recommend getting her to level 6 minimum, but for any of my war line, they deserve level 8 or above. Ultra Magnus is another bot that is very, very good. I see a lot of people use him on walk lines and rush lines because he deals a lot of damage per second. And he also has a really cool special ability that can deal quite a bit of damage. You see the number here at the bottom, 2,246. So basically, this number here is not the total amount of damage that he does. He also fires 21 rockets. So of the 21 rockets, that adds extra damage. I can take out defenses that have over 2,500 health. With this level 6 barrage here. So if Ultra Magnus is one of your bots that you go to for war and for your outposts, then I recommend getting his special to level 8 or above because he can start one-shotting defenses once you get him into the 50s. Okay, but again, I don't use Ultra Magnus very much because I just have too many bots to play with at the moment. And the next bot I'm going to talk about is Prowl. Prowl is a gunner class, and he's not as strong as, say, Alpha Bravo in terms of the special ability damage he can deal. So I really don't give him a lot of love or attention. He's on just a Zone 13 metal line for me. So basically, if you have Alpha Bravo, invest in Alpha Bravo more because he deals more damage for a special. I think the numbers were like you get an extra level out of it. So like for example, level 54 6 Alpha Bravo is the same deals the same amount of damage as a level 55 6 Prowl. So definitely focus on Alpha Bravo if you have him. But Prowl is still a very good second choice in terms of gunner and damage to single targets. Skydive is another air class bot, and he deals the most damage of all the bots. As you can see here, mine deals 4,600, which is enough to take out anything in the game pretty much. So I didn't bother getting it up any higher. I mean, it's really, I have a Silver Enhanced Ordnance that I could give him as well to get him over 5,000 damage. But, I just don't use Skydive too much because his first ability is 5 points, and then it gets to, I think, 7 and then 11. So it just gets really nasty if you want to use Skydive's special ability. So I really don't recommend him unless you don't have the other 4-star gunners. The next 4-star gunner we're going to talk about is Stormclash. Stormclash has actually the highest damage per second and health of all of the bots that are jet class. So if you, but her special ability is one of the weakest. Like I think it's 2 levels, or you need 2 more levels in order to match Jetfire in terms of the airstrike damage that she can do. So I would recommend only using her if you plan on spending a lot of money on power leveling to get her up to like level 57 or 58, because I think you do need level 58 or so and 8 in order to one-shot max mortars, which is a few levels higher than Jetfire. The next mob we're going to talk about is Mirage. Mirage is a gunner, and he has interesting special, that Rocket Barrage that can stun defenses. So, I mean, he's not bad if you're going to make a rush team and you're rushing to the HQ. You can use that special ability and stun some defenses around the HQ while your bots take out the HQ. So that's how I would use Mirage personally. Some people like to use Mirage in an outpost, but I don't recommend it because after that 6 seconds of disabling enemies, he's pretty weak as health. So I'm not a really big fan of gunners and outposts. I see a lot of people use them even at the higher levels, because if a gunner can get a hold of a bot, he can kill that bot with a high level special ability. But I mean, if I know that there's a gunner in that outpost, there's no way I'm going to let my bots take that damage. So I'll love to see gunners and outposts any day of the week because they're a lot weaker than a warrior class bot and quicker to kill. The next bot we're going to talk about is Bumblebee. Bumblebee has another EMP special, just like Mirage, and he got a nice health boost recently. So I like Bumblebee. He's fun to use on a rush line. I use him in Zone 13 right now on a rush line. And for war attacks, he could be pretty useful too, just to stun defenses. I think that new raid mode that's going to come out, he's going to be very, very useful because he can stun a defense as well, no matter how much life it has or how strong it is. So Bumblebee's going to be a very valuable bot in the game later on. So I like his special ability. At 5, you can see it only increases by 0.3, which is kind of small. But once you get it up to level 7 or 8, you're into the 8-second mark. So you can add another second if you can just add a few more levels of that special. So it's worth it if you have the spark to spend. The next bot we're going to talk about is Snarla. Snarla is one of the newer dino bots to the game. I got him off a leaderboard event. But as you can see here, he's just very underwhelming. He's a special class bot that can light up multiple targets in a line. And as you can see there, it does some damage. But I don't think it's too great. He's not good in an outpost, and because his life is kind of weak. So it's a very underwhelming bot. I wouldn't even touch him, and that's why I got him in the leaderboard event when he first came out, and I just haven't bothered to level him up more because I've seen higher level Snarls and nobody uses them in war. So Space Ape, if you're listening, Snarl needs a really big buff. The next bot we're going to talk about is Sunstreaker. Sunstreaker is a gunner class And he's got a special that's very similar to Jazz. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it inflicts a big area, bigger than Jazz's area. And if you get his special ability up high enough, you can see I can start to take out HQ 15 defenses like lasers and stuff like that. So the 4-star is very underwhelming. As you can see, mine's almost level 53, and he is nowhere near good enough for HQ 16. So I wouldn't personally invest a lot into Sunstreaker unless he's your only gunner you got. And because he's just very expensive to level up, and his special is kind of weak compared to the other gunners in the game. And definitely would prefer Jazz over him. The next bot we're going to talk about is Sludge. Sludge finally got renamed Sludge. His name was Slog before, which was awful. So glad Space Ape and Hasbro got the rights to change his name back to Sludge. Now, his special ability is good, but you need to get it really high in order to crack higher level walls. So I don't have the exact number that is needed. If anyone knows that number, we have it in the Prime Alliance somewhere. But I think you need to have like a really high level Sludge at like 58 or something like that with level 9 ability, and then you've got to use the special ability twice to take on a max wall. So that just goes to show you how strong max walls are and how weak Sludge's ability is. So a 4-star Sludge definitely needs a boost, I think anyway, to his seismic charge, as you need it to be at a really high level to take out walls. So I just prefer other strategies instead of using Sludge. The next bot we're going to talk about is Rustus. Rustus is very similar to Bumblebee in that he's a type of bot, a scout class that can jump around when mortars are hitting him and cannons are hitting him. His artillery support is interesting because it can damage a whole area. So that's a nice bot to like use when I'm power leveling and when I'm taking smaller teams in for experience. But overall, it's just he doesn't deal enough damage. But he can stun, which is really, really good, or she can stun. So I think the new raid mode that will come out soon, she'll be a very useful bot alongside with Bumblebee. The next bot we're going to talk about is Pyrra Magna. Pyrra Magna is very similar to Sludge in that she does the fire rush ability. But as you can see here, I just haven't given her a lot of love because there are other bots that are better for rush lines. And if you want to know who I would put on a rush line, that'll be another video that I'll be releasing very soon. But pretty much I use warrior class bots that have shields over that fire, unless it's a lower level kind of base like a zone 13. Then bots like Pyrra Magna and Sludge Slag are better bots for those bases. But on a max base, I just find that they don't have enough health and they don't do enough damage. Rodimus Prime is a very, very good bot, but his special ability only helps damage and not special abilities. So I would definitely recommend getting Inferno over Rodimus. They're both very good bots, don't get me wrong, but Rodimus is good for bases that are pretty clumped, because you're going to use his ability and to power up the rest of your team, and they're going to take out defenses with their regular damage attacks. So you need to get that. You need to get a certain type of team compiled for Rodimus to be effective. You wouldn't use him in an outpost, and you would only use him for for war attacks, I think, pretty much. So I think the Merchant's Burst is interesting. I would get that up a little bit higher to at least level 6. But beyond that, I don't know if it's really worth it unless you have lots of spark to go around. Now, Perceptor is a very interesting bot. Perceptor, a lot of people don't like him. I got him off the 4-star leaderboard, which had 6 teams, which was just nasty. That was such a nightmare of a leaderboard for us to do. But you can see here, I got him as a 4-star bot for free, and I barely touch him because, quite honestly, his special defensive hack only works if there are lots of defenses clumped together around a shock tower. And so that's when I would use that special ability. But I think that the new raid mode is designed for scouts. So I think his ability will be very good for the new raid mode that comes out. And so I got it at level 6. I would probably get it up higher if new raid mode comes out, and I start using Perceptor more, because I can, as you can see here, if you get it up 2 more levels, you can get closer to 10 seconds of hacking defenses there, which is pretty cool. Next bot we're going to talk about is Silverbolt. Silverbolt is a very controversial bot. A lot of people like him, a lot of people hate him. He's great for stunning defenses, and he'll be great for that new raid mode that comes out, because look at that. Look at this damage that he deals here. 17.5 seconds at level 6. So let's take a look at the MP bomb, and as you can see there, if you get it up to a level 7, that's 18.2, and then level 8, you're getting into 19 seconds of stun, which is really gross. It's great, but you know, it's a very specific type of use. Like if you're using a cup springer kind of attack to solo a base, then Silverbolt could be pretty useful, because you're going to use him to stun defenses so that Cup and Springer can do their work. So I would get it to level 6. I don't know if you want to get it any higher unless you have lots of spark to spend. Next spot we're going to talk about is Ironhide. Ironhide is a warrior class bot similar to Slag and similar to Pyrra Magna, that in that they rush to targets. And he does all his damage all at once, like Optimus Prime does with his inspiring charge. And he has higher damage per second, and his health is pretty decent once you level him up more. But Ironhide is pretty much underwhelming as a bot. I don't find him that great. His special is not that great. I wouldn't get that up too high unless you don't have a lot of bots to work with. Sideswipe is very interesting. He's a warrior class bot that you could put in an outpost because of this shattering charge special that rush into combat, leaving trails of glass gas behind. And so affected targets take 40% more damage for 9.8 seconds. And for an HQ, it'll take 20% more damage for 9.8 seconds. So I like Sideswipe a lot. I hate dealing with him or a Cliffjumper slash kickback types that are in outposts, because they just hurt your bots so much if there's lots of defenses around those outposts, because they're taking 40% more damage now. And right next to Cliffjumper, so Cliffjumper has the same special, and I really like Cliffjumper. I use him a lot in Zone 13 battles, because I use him on a rush line, and then I just shoot this at the HQ, and it deals 20% extra damage on the HQ, while my bots are trying to hack away at the HQ. So that's how you use Cliffjumper effectively, in my opinion. But other than that, you know, I think it'd be good for the new raid mode that comes out as well, depending on what scenario you have to deal with. Huffer is an interesting bot. Huffer is a bot that is a special class, doesn't have a lot of health, deals a lot of damage per second, but his mini laser is just very underwhelming. It's kind of fun to use if you could put down a whole bunch of mini lasers at once, because look at that damage, 56.7 damage per second. So if you add 56.7 damage per second to Huffer's already high damage per second, he's dealing over 300 damage a second to two defenses with that laser plus his special ability. So he's a very strong bot, but there's just other bots that you could use instead. So I really don't find Huffer all too useful. Hound is a gunner that we got off for free from one of the Space Ape events. He's got a really good ability that releases hollow bombs, and he's got a really cool G1 core that can release holograms that distract defenses as well. So I like Hound a lot, but for me, I don't really need those hollow bombs, because most of my gunners can one-shot stuff as is. So he's a lot of fun to use when I'm attacking a lower zone, but not too fantastic when he gets to the higher levels. I just don't see a lot of people using him in Cybertron war attacks. Seaspray is interesting. Seaspray has high damage per second for a gunner. The special ability can deal damage in a straight line, and that can go pretty far. So it's a pretty interesting special ability once you level him up a bit. As you can see there, mine could deal 600 damage, and you'll get into like closer to 1,000, which is kind of cool. So if you use that ability a few times, you can stun a lot of defenses and hurt them a lot. But very underwhelming for Cybertron level attacks, so I wouldn't really recommend using Seaspray all too much unless you don't have a lot of gunners. Now the next bot, we're getting there, guys. Thanks for your patience here. Let's see here. Air Raid. Air Raid is a air class bot, but he's doesn't deal damage. He like lays down a fusion bomb that needs to be triggered by the destruction of a defense. So you need to have it's a two-pronged attack. You need the fusion bomb, and then you need to attack it. So it's interesting, but you use a lot of special ability points. I'd rather just use Jazz and get it over with. So unless you don't have Jazz, I've seen some strong air raids in our family, which can take out one shot maxed mortars and stuff like that once you get them to the high 50s. But just that the amount of work needed to get air raid to where you needed to get it is just too costly, and he's just so hard to level. I don't like air raid at all, and I don't recommend him unless you don't have a lot of bots to use. There are just other bots that are better. Warpath is one of the newer gunners to the game, and he deals damage in a line similar to Seaspray, but he can reach further targets, which is really, really cool. And as you can see there, he deals more damage than Seaspray. So you just need to level him up a little bit more, and you can see how much damage he can deal. But for me, I don't know. I have stronger gunners, right? So even if I get him up to a level 8 ability and to level 50 something plus, he's not going to deal more than 2,000 damage. So I'm going to have to use his special ability a few times if I want to take out one defense. So I just don't find that too useful. Powerglide is another air class bot, but he's got a really interesting special that's kind of inconsistent because he just fires bombs in a line. And as you can see, they deal a lot of damage, but it's sporadic and it's just unreliable. So I just don't like I don't like using him in the higher levels. I used him a lot when I was a lower level player, and I just put him to sleep once HQ 15 and 16 rolled around. I don't use him at all, so I don't recommend him. Getting him above level 5 ability is just not worth it in my opinion. Rodimus, or Hot Rod, sorry, they changed him back to Hot Rod. His special is the Blessing of the Matrix, and that's one of the coolest abilities in the game. I just got Hot Rod really late. He was one of my unicorns, so that's why he's at the level he's at, and I just have no real need to level up more bots. So, but I've seen him at very high uses, and he's great. People love him as a 5-star, and as a 4-star, he's still very, very good. As you can see, a level 1 Hot Rod special only changes with Spark, so you don't have to level him up a whole lot to take advantage of his awesome special. So I would get that special up if you're using a Grimlock style or a Drift style attack where you are popping outposts with a certain bot. You can just pop on that matrix, and now your bots are invincible to outpost attack. So as you can see there, level 6 is my ability. That's definitely worth getting higher if you're going to use Hot Rod a lot. Dustup is a gunner class, and she deals damage to a whole area. So she's okay in my opinion, but not great. She's good for cleanup in a lower zone, but I would never ever use her in a high level situation, even level 50 something plus. I can tinker with her some more, I suppose, and she'll maybe deal 25 to 3,000 damage in a clustered area. But I just rather take Sky Burst over Dustup. Slash is one of the newer bots that we got to the game. Her Hunter Camouflage is really, really gross. If you want to watch me solo at Zone 12, watch Jake from Prime Union solo at Zone 12 with Slash, check out my video in the playlist below under Transformers gameplay. But basically, she has very good health, good damage, and her special is really, really gross. I recommend getting that to a level 6 minimum. But you'll have a lot of fun with her once you get that higher. So if you have the spark to spend, I would definitely invest into her more. She's still a pretty new bot. We just got her a few weeks ago, so I'm going to reserve judgment until I play with Slash some more. Optimus Primal is one of those really, really good must-have bots in the game. Mine is really low, as you can see. I just got him recently. He's one of my two unicorns. So I finally got him, and his special is amazing. It's very similar to healing kind of ability because they get a shield, a health shield. But also, you're going to start targeting enemy defenses. And so he's just really useful for cleanup, and one of my favorite bots to watch in battle. Just very different, versatile type of bot. 4-star Drift is very interesting. I think that he's not very useful though at a higher level because there's a 5-star Drift, of course, but it's a 4-star Drift. Even his essence theft is not that strong, so I just find him very underwhelming at the HQ 16 level. So I would not touch Drift as a 4-star all too much, and many of my teammates would agree with that. RC is very interesting. I haven't seen a lot of people level her up to a high level, but for some that I have seen, she deals a lot of damage when she's higher leveled, and her health is very, very good, and her decoys are very, very strong. So she can distract, be very annoying to deal with. So I like her as a bot. If you don't have a lot of other options out there, she could be very fun to use. But I have too many bots, as I was saying. There are bots that are better than her. So unless you don't have a ton, then I wouldn't really invest too much spark or effort leveling her up. Cosmos is one of the newer bots of the game, and we all thought he was going to be really cool for outposts because he can distract enemies for 20 seconds. But he just doesn't deal a lot of damage. So at a higher level, he's a little bit annoying. Like if you're trying to do a prime rush and you encounter Cosmos, that would really suck if you don't have a combiner to distract Cosmos. But or mind wipe, Cosmos / mind wipe. But pretty much just at a higher level, I just don't find him too useful. I use him on my lower squads. Like I have 2 HQ15 bases that I play with a little bit as well, and he's really fun to use on that level. So as you can see there, I got mine to level 5 ability. I probably won't go any higher because there's just no point. At the higher levels, he's not very useful. And then 4-star Cheetor. Cheetor as a 5-star is gross. He's one of the best bots in the game. If you don't have a 5-star, the 4-star is still really, really good. And he's a scout class, and his special is what is really, really scary. For 15 seconds, triple your attack and movement speeds, and heal for 25% of your damage you deal. So if you equip him with the proper power core, like the Amalgamous one that heals your bot as well every time you're damaging, Cheetor can be pretty much invincible for soloing bases, power leveling bases, and so if you have the 4-star, proceed with caution, because I don't see a lot of people use the 4-star at a high level. So if you have the 5-star, go all out. But the 4-star, proceed with caution. And the last spot is Smokescreen. Smokescreen is absolutely useless in my opinion. He's one of the worst bots in the game. Unless you have nothing else to use, his special there can destroy buildings below 30% health, or snipe an enemy bot dealing 1,100 damage. Play with that a bit. It's interesting, but I just don't. He takes up a space on my shuttle. So at a higher level, I just find him very underwhelming, and not very good. I have seen like 51 plus smoke screens out there, and they're really fun for shooting down scourges and stuff like that. But in reality, it's just a very tricky special to use, and he doesn't have a lot of health. because he's a special type getter type. So I just personally don't have a lot of love for Smokescreen. So this is a pretty long video as is. We're at 35 minutes, so I just really appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me. And we got through the 4-star bots that are in the game, basically the ones that I have and the ones that I don't have. So I think we're going to end it there, and we'll do 3 stars at another time. I'm gonna have a video on the best 3-star bots of the game, which ones are going to be useful for wars and such. We'll do that at another date. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video that I pop out. And remember, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, if you're one of my subscribers, you have a chance to win a gift card to either iTunes or to Google Play, so you could buy some Transformer goodies online. Or if you're, and also if you're that 1,000 subscriber and you send me a screenshot of you at 1,000 and you're the first one to do that, I'll give you a brand new Transformer that I have sitting away in storage here. I haven't decided which one to give out yet. It could be a Bumblebee or something a little bit nicer. We'll see. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. This is Alpha Prime. Peace out.